Okay, so I'm here with Team Disastra Shadowverse, who's a long-term veteran player who was actually just recently crowned the August Cup champion for the recent European Shadowverse Open. So real quick, I'll let him kind of introduce himself to those of you who may not be sure who he is or maybe new to the competitive scene.
So yeah, hi, my name's Himari. I've been playing since Steam launch, and as for my achievements, last year I made it to Contenders Cup, and I was one game away from making it to um, the World Grand Prix. At the end, it wasn't enough, and this year I'm back again, and so far I've made top 8 5 out of 8 um, Shadowverse Open tournaments, and I've won 2 of them so far.
Right, that's some crazy consistency. Yeah. So he's been here for a long time and has always been placing well. But he's here, stronger than ever for 2019, and he's in a good spot to go to World Grand Prix. So first of all, I just want to ask you, how are you feeling after such a crazy weekend? That was a really good run, right? And being able to become a champion.
Well, sure, it's a good feeling. I didn't expect too much, actually. Uh, I absolutely didn't expect to make top 8 that time. After the last round finished, I just walked away and had some dinner because I thought my tiebreakers were too bad. But I ended up making it in, and then day 2 we went all the way, so definitely a bit unexpected, but I'm happy.
Right, I believe that you were actually the last seed for top eight. I think like eighth, right? Like you just barely made it.
Yeah,
With that
just barely
tiebreaker.
made it.
Okay.
Yeah, and my tiebreaker was just ever so slightly better than the ninth place person, so definitely got a bit lucky there.
Right, right. Well, all right. So can you kind of explain your lineup and ban strategy for this weekend's tournament? Any interesting strategies or techs you came up with, and how do you kind of end up on deciding this whole lineup?
For me it was pretty easy because I don't really like Ilana as a deck, and that was definitely the most popular one last week. So from there on, I decided, well, if I'm not playing Ilana, uh, there's definitely going to be a Blood and a Rune deck. I wasn't sure which ones. And since I wasn't playing Ilana, the obvious choice was bringing Artifact Portal, which got recently buffed. And from there out, I decided if I'm bringing Artifact Portal, one of the main strengths of that deck is being very good against Ilana. So I decided, well, why not bring a full target Ilana strategy, and that's what we ended up running with. It's the same that 2 of my teammates brought as well. So I just liked the feel of that, and it was hard to figure out because there's so many good Blood and Rune decks. But yeah, we locked that in last minute, gave it some practice, and it ended up working out.
Well, so what exactly was your ban strategy again?
Um, well, now it's a lot more popular, but back then there wasn't too much Ambush Sword.
Okay.
So I decided if I see it, I'd ban it, but otherwise I choose to ban Blood most of the time.
Okay. So you said that you didn't like to play Alana, which was an extremely popular choice last month and also this month as well. So what's like your main reason for disliking that deck? Is it just doesn't feel right or inconsistency? How's that for you?
Mhm. I think I've never been much of a Haven player, Lion Haven being the big exception because the playstyle is quite different.
Right.
So I've never been like super attuned to Haven, and I don't really like the playstyle, nothing in particular, and because I don't really like the deck and practice it much.
Okay. Did you feel like any deck maybe kind of like underperformed, or overperformed than what you expected? Would you make any changes now if you could?
Mm, I think my with the shift in the meta with Ambush Sword being more popular, Machina Rune being more popular, and Ilana being less popular, I think my specific lineup would not work as well. Um, I think for the setting of last month, it was the correct choice. It worked out, but I couldn't really say it. I've got the stats here. My both Blood and Portal, actually all 3 decks lost 3 times. Rune won 7, Blood won 4, Portal won 4, and yeah, so it was pretty even. Rune didn't get banned at all, so obviously that deck has the most wins. But there's an argument to be made for a deck forcing out the ban very often.
Okay, so do you have kind of any advice for upcoming players that are trying to kind of replicate your success? Because you've obviously had a lot of success, you know, not even just this year and recently, but last year, 2018. So do you have any kind of personal advice for those new players that are looking to enter the competitive scene? Or maybe even competitive players that are just looking to up their game in general?
I think my biggest recommendation is, like, be smart with your time. I assume most people have other things to do than play Shadowverse, so you can't be grinding 24/7. It's best if you try to use it efficiently, like practice with friends, play 3-deck 1 ban, play other community tournaments, because ladder just isn't the best practice for playing a tournament setting.
Okay. So actually, it was actually hard to schedule an interview with you because you're actually in Japan right now, right? And so for a little fun question, how's Japan been treating you? What's it been like? I know you're with Ludi, Dolan, and I think Hulk, right?
Yeah, Hulk and Borja from HSK. A lot of people happened to be here at the same time, so we got to meet up. It's been very cool. It's hot and humid. That's a typical Japanese summer, but it's been really interesting, super fun, and nice to take a vacation like this, which I haven't in quite a while.
Right. So actually, I talked to you a little bit earlier, but one of the questions I like to ask is, what do you plan to do with the money you won? But you told me that your trip to Japan was kind of on an impulse, because of your recent win. So you had a little extra change, I think, right? And decided to book a flight because a lot of people were there. I think that's what you told me, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've been wanting to go for quite some time, and basically I saw the option opened up. I decided a bunch of my friends are here, and might as well make use of the money, because I have been saving my tournament savings for the most part until now.
Right. I think in a lot of, you've had a lot of interviews, and I remember you always answering the question, well, what are you going to do with your winnings, or what are you going to do with this? You always say, like, you're saving, which is, always a really good choice. But, yeah. So, one thing I want to ask you is, you just, qualified for the competitive stuff in June, and I guess you technically did it again. But, obviously the goal is to qualify directly for World Grand Prix. So how do you feel your odds are for qualifying for a World Grand Prix? And if you have to go through contenders, how do you feel about making it through?
I think my chances are pretty good, because right now I'm first place in Europe. I'm 2 points ahead of the nearest competitor, Cookie.
Cookie, right? And
so I'll do my best to. I think I don't have too high expectations. You can't win them all, but I just want to have a good run next month and keep my lead. That's all I really want.
The September Cup is actually the last cup, right? And then the direct seed is given out, and Contenders Cup is set up. So yeah, hopefully you don't have to go to Contenders Cup 2 years in a row, but even if you do, that's actually a really impressive accomplishment. So you should be proud of whatever happens, right? But obviously you have that goal. So for some more fun questions, can you kind of tell us your pre-tournament ritual? I like asking this question a lot, because it's really interesting to see what people do before each tournament.
Sure. So you may not see it sometimes on stream, but I actually do get pretty nervous. So I try to do something like going for a round on my bike, like not playing Shadowverse, get my mind off of it. Maybe, like I said, some physical activity.
Okay.
I always like to have some tea to drink during the matches,
Do you
and
have a favorite tea? Yeah, you know.
uh, I actually like uh, it's like roasted carob tea. It tastes a bit like coffee, but it doesn't have as much caffeine,
Okay.
and green tea otherwise. And yeah, just have a huge glass of water, keep drinking, keep hydrated during the tournament. And the main thing for me is definitely listening to music. I have a bunch of different playlists I listen to. For playing, it always has to be something with very few vocals, so instrumental music, either something classic, jazz, or house, techno, something that really calms you down and lets you focus.
Oh, so you have a specific like playlist for tournament playing in Shadowverse?
There are like a few different ones I cycle between.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting because I remember, and I think actually like around just a year from now, I was in Singapore and I was talking to some of the pro players, right? And Akamari Red told me that he likes to listen to K-pop when he plays Shadowverse because you can't entirely understand it, right? Because it's like Korean, so you can kind of focus on the game. And so he likes to listen to stuff where there's not lyrics that he can understand, so that's to distract him. I think he told me that, um, which is kind of interesting. So that's neat to know.
Yeah, actually, it's the same for me. I understand a bit, but I'm obviously not fluent in Japanese, so listening to stuff with Japanese lyrics uh, lets you focus on the game because you're not picking up all the lyrics. I find like English lyrics super distracting.
Right. Yeah, I like to listen to hype music personally. I know some Japanese music gets pretty hype, so I've listened to a lot of different stuff, and that tends to be my type of thing. If you want to know what I listen to mostly, I would say I like to listen to either EDM or I'm a big like rap and hip hop guy, so those kind of pump me up a lot when I'm playing tournaments. I just like listening to hype music. So yeah, interesting thing to know. So
Yeah,
uh,
definitely no hype music here.
no hype
I
music.
always go for something relaxing.
Right, yeah. My roommate, he plays Smash. He always listens to like classical music when he's playing because it like calms him down whenever he's playing a tournament. So yeah, that's interesting. Um, all right, so I guess you told us that you like to go biking. I think you like to go hiking sometimes too. I'm not sure. I don't remember. No, I'm not sure.
Um, I'm not a huge hiking
Not
fan.
hiking.
I
Okay,
like going rock
rock
climbing,
climbing. That's the one. That's the one.
playing table tennis, going biking, swimming,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask you is, when you're not playing Shadowverse, what do you like to be doing? Can you kind of tell us your background? Like, you are a student? Maybe what you're majoring in, maybe what you're interested in, any other games to play, hobbies, etc. Just to get us to know you a little better.
Yeah, well, like I said, like you said,
Right.
actually, I'm a student. Uh, I major in biotechnology, so that keeps me occupied most of the time. Obviously, right now we've got summer break, so I can spend it doing more fun stuff like going on holiday. Uh, in addition, I work as a paramedic, so I volunteer like once a month. And yeah, hobbies, bunch of different sports, like I mentioned, rock climbing, hiking, not so much biking,
Mm.
table tennis, and yeah, meeting with friends, playing board games, stuff like that. I do enjoy cooking quite a bit.
Yeah, right. You do like to sometimes share your what you cook with Team Disastra, right? I always see it looks good. So that's neat to know. What other do you play any other games besides Shadowverse?
Actually, not many right now, because most of my time spent gaming. I play Shadowverse.
Right.
I try to do other stuff when I'm not gaming, so yeah.
Okay, yeah. You seem like a pretty busy person. You've got a lot of things you like, school, work, and Shadowverse. So that probably takes most of your time. So I guess one last question I want to ask you is how did you come up with your username?
Well, uh, there's two different stories because I go by more than one username.
Right.
So, uh, my more common username is like Skykill, so Michael with a sky instead of my, uh, which I just came up because I had a pet dog called Sky.
Oh.
And I just mixed them together. I thought it was kind of nice looking, but I didn't really consider that the name is hard to pronounce because it doesn't mesh well.
Right. You used to
So
go by Skyco, right?
exactly.
And you changed it.
So then actually my in-game username for female characters was Himari because that's the name of my favorite character from an anime. So
Right.
at the time I won my first tournament, I was just using that username. So uh, it, they used that username on broadcast and it just stuck. So that's what I'm using now. And as an advantage, it's not as awkward to pronounce.
That's funny. Yeah. I just interviewed Nor last week, right, when he got second place because Dante couldn't make it, and his name is like the same origin, right? It's kind of funny. Um, you know, we all weebs here. What are you watching anything right now? Just kind of a random question. Do you have a favorite show you're watching right now, or are you kind of not watching anything right now? I know you're in Japan, so.
Mhm. Well, my favorite show airing at the moment is Dandaru. So, aka Do You Even Lift? Uh, it's a show about girls doing like muscle training.
Oh. No, I've been watching.
It's funny.
I've been watching Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is really good. I got recommended to watch it. So yeah, I'm not caught up yet, but it's pretty good. I watched like 10 episodes in 3 days. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's neat to know. Anyways, thanks for coming out to do this interview. I know you're really busy in Japan. You got a lot of things you want to do, but you still made some time to do this quick interview with me. So really appreciate it, Mike. And is there anything you'd like to say to maybe potential fans watching, family, friends, shoutouts, etc.? Yeah.
Well, yeah, main shout out obviously to Team Disastra, all my friends there, and like there's a certain overlap with Tempo Storm, and I've also been working together with them recently with the Meta Snapshot, so it's been really good working together with all the people, great friends, and it's nice to work with you guys.
All right. Do you want to plug in any social media like Twitter? You do stream occasionally, right? So your Twitch, your Twitter, etc., that type of thing.
So yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Himari_SV, and I always post on there if I'm streaming, so you can find everything going from there.
All right. It's also where I like to ask a lot of players if they have shout outs like for sponsors. All I'm gonna say is someone sponsor this man because he's always doing so well. He's always hitting it, So yeah. Anyways, closing statement. So this is Himari. He's the August Cup winner and also the #1 point holder for the European side of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Please subscribe below if you did, and thanks for coming out today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, bye guys.